Oh god. Spilled beer on myself. Jesus.
Good together.
Lick it off.
No, that's a sin. Alright. So here we are for this is Group Rant 41, and we're titling it Theology Rant. We haven't done a group rant in a while because there's a transition. It's almost been a month because I've had a child in between. Well, I haven't. My wife did. A beautiful 7-pound, 11-ounce baby boy by the name of Costello. So I do appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was hard work. It was very hard work.
I bet.
I'll buy you a beer if I see you again.
You know, I'm putting together chapter 3 because we're doing this thing. We have a YouTube channel. It's called Days of Our Lives, or I forget what I call it, Baby Days. And chapter 3 is going to be about the birth of Costello. And Laura did, I think she went into labor, it was like around midnight on Sunday. And so all day Sunday, and then she was just holding out at home, and then they got closer and closer Monday night. So, you know, this started Sunday morning, like 12 a.m., goes all the way to Monday night, and then she decides that they're very painful, so we take off to the birthing center, which is this house, essentially, just a house, because she was going to do the natural birth with the midwife. We're there.
Did they saran wrap all over the place?
No, they didn't. Funny story is that well, I don't want to skip ahead yet, so not yet. Okay, so she's there going through, having these contractions, and they're getting closer and closer, and then they start fizzling out, and this is, what, Tuesday? Monday afternoon, they start fizzling out, so we go back home, and she stays home all the way through Tuesday night. Then they start getting really painful, and she thought she felt her water break. So Tuesday at midnight, or Wednesday morning, early morning, we go back to the birthing center. We're there for 8 hours. They're really strong, contractions coming every minute, almost back to back. And then she goes to actually start pushing around 8 a.m., and she's having she has trouble pushing it out, and the baby's not making it under the pelvic bone. So they say, you can't have it here, you're going to have to go to the hospital. So it's this whole thing, and at that moment, it's so weird because 2 minutes later, after they call 911, ambulance shows up, the paramedics, and they just come in there, and my wife is just like fully exposed, basically. And so you got these like 4 like just huge muscular guys walking inside, and they're just like, oh, what's up? What's her name? What's her insurance? And I'm just like losing it, just like in tears, because I'm just like, my wife's not gonna make it, because it was just, we've been up for a while. We hadn't slept in a while. And then, like, the plan that we had been thinking about this whole time was just not going through, so what the fuck? Wow. And finally make it to the hospital. And the first nurse that we get to is just such a bitch. She was looking at us like second-class citizens, I think, mostly because we were coming from the birthing center. And she's like, you know, these people are coming from this place where they're trying to give they were trying to give birth naturally. It didn't work out. Now they're trying to do it at a hospital. She's just, I can't, in that moment of distress for myself, and then not having somebody just being there to let me know that she was going to be okay, just sucked. There's no other way to explain that feeling. It just completely sucked. And then we were there for about an hour, and this nurse would just come in and do random stuff to my wife, like hook her up to the monitor, but she wasn't explaining anything. And I'd be like, did you call the doctor? Yeah, she's going to come after her rounds. It's like answers like that. So about an hour in, I was getting frustrated, so I was going to go tell her something or ask for another nurse. And right when I'm about to do that, we get the second nurse. It's just 360 degrees, completely different type of nurse. And she told us step by step the options that Laura had, and then she told me like how much longer till we actually talk to the nurse and all her options. It was just like, you know, for someone to be there and telling us exactly what's going to happen and what our options are was just nice to know, and it was comforting. And I was able to talk to Laura and tell her, you know, this whole time we were going to do it without the epidural, but now it became a thing. It's like, oh, well, yeah, we might actually have to do that because you're exhausted and you can't push anymore. So put you in a state of like numbness. So yeah, it was a very long process, and at 11 they gave her 3 hours to push the baby out, or otherwise they're going to do a C-section, which was the very last thing on our like birthing plan that we put together. And I think it was about 10:50, and Laura was in there pushing, and then we finally started seeing the baby head, and that's when the doctor came in, pulled the nurse out, was like, "Can I talk to you?" And they went outside. I was like, "I don't know, I don't know what they're talking about." Nurse comes back in and says, "You're gonna have this naturally. You're gonna be able to push it out." So we still got to do some of our original birthing plan, or Laura did. I shouldn't say we, but she still got to deliver it naturally, but under the epidural because it was just necessary. Otherwise, she could have just passed out. She was running out of energy and stuff like that. So it was intense. And then so that was at 11 o'clock, and then at 12:30, Costello Galileo was born finally, and just kind of came out, big old baby.
Wow.
It was intense. I looked straight into it. I just looked straight into it.
Yeah.
Like when that baby was coming out, I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm gonna look right in there. And I was just like, whoa, I did not know that opened like that. All of that went like that. And there was like a secret compartment right there, and that door just opened up. And then Costello comes out, and I was like, where is this whole other room? It's like if you moved into an apartment and there's like a whole upstairs you didn't know about that you could live in. Like, where's all this, man?
Oh, poor Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, would you recommend to other people birthing centers, or?
Laura did everything that she was supposed to.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of mothers now that are hitting 38 weeks, and they're getting preeclampsia. Their feet look super swollen. It hurts for them to be moving around so much. Their high blood pressure is going up. Laura didn't have any of that. We were at 40 weeks. And she was doing really well. No real complaints about all that. It's just like the contractions started coming. I think we got the best of both worlds. We did have to pay extra to go to a birthing center and stuff like that. And we're still going to end up having to pay the hospital fees because we had to utilize the hospital. So it's like we paid for two just to use one service. But we wouldn't have known that she couldn't give birth like the other way if we hadn't tried.
Right.
So.
Right.
It's not like we didn't try it, and Laura held out. She's amazing. I see my wife in a whole new light because of that experience and what she endured. For me, it was just like being supportive, and there was times I started falling asleep whenever she's like in her contractions, going in and out, and I'm just like slapping myself. I'm like, you're not. She doesn't have the option of that, so I don't know. It was intense. Would I recommend it? I think everybody should at least try doing it naturally. At least on their first, and depending on how the conditions go, or if you remain low risk pregnancy, you should carry that out. But there's some people that can't do it naturally for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I don't think I don't have anything against for people that have given birth non-naturally or whatever, have it all planned out. It does strike me a little weird when I hear some of my friends talk about, I'm planning on having my child next week at 10 o'clock. We're gonna do a C-section, take it out. It's just almost like so scheduled and planned out. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how to think about that because I like the idea of everything just happening with its own time. Does that make sense? Like if you cooked a meal in the microwave or you cooked it in the oven, kind of thing. Like, which one? Like, I always looked at it like that, and with natural birth, or she was allowing it to take its time and savor the moment, as opposed to just taking the speedy process, getting the epidural so you don't feel anything, and then just shoot the thing out, and there you go. It's like, I don't know. There's an intimate moment, intimate tie with that pain that you're enduring, but also while you're pushing, and there's an attachment that occurs there. And I don't think you get that when you're like fully under the epidural, not really feeling what's going on. But that's just my opinion. Anyways.
So babies taste better in the oven?
That's what I hear. There's a
Like the
Holocaust joke
golden
that
prison.
reminds me of, but we won't get into that. Jesse's here. Jesse, you haven't met Freddie and Mary, so just so you know all of them, blah blah blah. But we wanted to start. This is Group Rant 41. Like I said, and that's what we were talking about before you got here, Jesse. Is that we hadn't done one of these in like a month because of the birth of my child, and just decided to come and inconvenience everybody. So I apologize for that. But I think this is a.
Wait.
Huh?
Sorry, I had a question. When did you figure the name out? Like right when he was coming out?
Yeah, dude.
You like saw him?
No, after the baby came out, they asked, okay, so what's the baby's name? I was like, I look at Laura, and of course, she's all just like opened up, everything's everywhere, and they're stitching her to clothes. And I was like, whoa. It's like, hey, Laura, I don't know if this is a good time, but what are we gonna call this baby? Did you decide on a name? And she's like, Costello.
Who's like, Big Dick Diaz?
It's like Costello.
That's how it happens.
You're saying Costello. I want you to be aware of what you're saying, so that I can make. Yeah.
I thought that'd be higher up on your birthing plan, like the name of the child.
Well, no, we had two names down that it was either going to be Julian or Costello, and we had them down on a board, and she couldn't decide, and even going through it and all that. I was even asking her. That was like some of the conversations I was having with her while she was having her contractions, so that kind of take her mind off of it. But at some point,
like, flip a coin or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could, but I don't know. She didn't want me. She said she gave me the middle name, which is Galileo, and after that I couldn't go any further. So that was it. I was like, okay, whatever.
All right.
Anyways, we're gonna play the weekly WTF. So I explained the rules to Mary and to Freddie, and I think Jesse's aware of the rules. And Jesse reminded me of this game before the show, and I was just like, yeah, we should freaking play that. Why not? What the fuck? So the way it goes is like your weekly pet peeve. Mary, you said you had one already on the top of your mind. What is it?
My mom told me I dress like a homeless person.
Nice. To Mary's mom.
Thank you.
Freddie, what's your weekly what the fuck?
People chewing on their fingernails.
Oh,
I'm
I hate that, man.
currently staying with a guy over the summer at this chaplaincy program, and he constantly has like almost his whole hand in his mouth. It feels like each time I look at him, and then when I have to drive the car, I feel so disgusting.
That's gross, man. Yeah, screw that guy. Jesse, what's your weekly pet peeve? Hook's coming up, bro.
It'd have to be people that eat very stinky food at their desk or around other people.
What's an example?
Like tuna sandwiches.
Dude, I used to have a kid. We had a kid that used to eat sardines, man. Is that like the kind of stinky food you're talking about?
Yeah, like tuna sandwiches or just something like really potent, like it's not appropriate to be eaten at your desk with everybody around.
Yeah, I could see that. I hate that, man. Screw you and your stinky lunches. Tony, what do you got for us, bro? You're like on cloud 9 this week, so I'm really surprised. I really want to see what this pet peeve of yours is.
I would say getting in the car when it's really hot.
When it's really hot, that's your complaint. Jeez. I don't want to hear any more about that one. You know what pet peeve for this week is that there's a manufacturer of diapers that they basically have the same design, and one has Winnie Pooh on the back, and the other one has Winnie the Pooh on the front. And I've put probably about 4 different diapers on backwards, and they just don't hold. And Costello goes at it. Laura has a nice little surprise, or I have a nice little surprise. So screw you for putting the. Oh, yeah. So
so can I change mine?
I had to learn that the straps go forward, and Jesse can testify to this. But anyways, yeah, go. Oh, what do you want to change yours to, Tony?
It's still the same thing, Keith. But laptops, why can't they stay on my lap and not burn my balls? That's my pet peeve. What the fuck?
Why are your balls out with the laptop? I don't know.
Because he flips them up and then puts his laptop on top of.
What the fuck?
All right, that was a nice little segment of the weekly WTF. I appreciate all of the comments that we had and stuff like that. Now, we had one more game to play before we get into our theology rant, and Mary wanted to make sure that we played it before we got into theology rant because it's the other infamous game known as porn or bad acting. Excuse me. Oh. That was designed by Tony. Tony designed this game. Tony, do you want to tell us the rules about the porn or bad acting?
So you play a clip, and it's gonna be somebody with bad acting. But we have to decide if it's just a bad acting, or it's in a porno.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's essentially the rules there. And let me get this clip lined up. I think it's a good clip. I think it's a real good one. We'll get this going. Let me see. I got it. Oh, I still have our intro bit. You remember this?
Is that a porn? Or just battle? Or just battle?
Acting.
Bad act? Or just battle?
Porn or bad acting. Okay, so here's your clip. All right.
As long as they think they could have gotten some. All they need is just something to tell their stupid friends the next day.
How am I going to get Gary to go for it? Which I'm not going to do. And then I blow the opportunity to call off the bet.
Just tell me on your period.
What if he's into that sort of thing?
Okay, so initial guesses for is it a porn or bad acting? Tony, you go first.
I heard she said blow.
Okay, very
Talk
good.
about her period. I don't know if people want to hear about period in porn. Maybe it could be.
There's a fetish.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fetish for everything. Okay,
But
so
they had that accent, that porn accent. I'm gonna go with porn.
okay, so we've got a vote for porn. Let me Tony for porn. Mary, what do you think? What do you think?
Bad acting.
Bad acting. Mary, why do you think it's just bad acting? What gives you that?
I didn't think porn had that much of a plot.
You'd be surprised.
At least the
Tony-
ones I watch. I mean,
But Tony's our resident porn expert, so he'll tell you right now that there are some elaborate plots out there for
don't you
porn.
just want to hit it and quit it? I mean, isn't that the point?
You know, you
As
watch
you
so many
said,
of the
there's
hit it and
other-
quit it. You want some nice transitions and background music. You want
No,
you go
you
for
don't.
production
No,
quality
you don't.
after a
Hit
while.
it and quit it never gets old. Okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. Okay.
Whatever.
Mary thinks it's bad acting. Jesse, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna go with bad acting. It sounds like a little setup from like an old 80s horror film or something.
I don't know. Tell him that you used to be a man. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. I mean, you're beautiful and
I see where you're coming from.
Setup thing. Okay. What about you, Freddie? What do you got?
Some bad acting from Lifetime Network.
Everybody's going with bad acting, essentially. What else have we got?
That clip you just played, she said you're
Yeah.
beautiful. It's going to end up to them both making out. They're talking about a
Intelligent
guy,
woman. Men are stupid.
and they're trying to bond.
Alright, this
and
isn't
eventually
helping.
they-
Here's the deal, okay?
Here, I'll play a little
you're
bit
gonna
more.
leave your cell phone on
That's
and just text
cheating.
me 10 minutes after he calls off the bet, and I'll call you, and you can just say that it's your grandma calling to tell you your grandpa fell and can't get up. I don't know. And then just give him a mercy kiss and split.
I don't want to hear anything about my grandma.
He'd rather totally humiliate me than get laid.
Yeah. So
Wait. Where's
What?
the porn? Where's the porn part? Keep going. There's no sex scene. Okay.
hang on. Here it comes. You ready for this?
Yeah, the talk. I have a really big favor to ask you. I've just been so stressed out with work and everything that I was wondering if maybe you could take my laundry.
Man, that's just some bad acting.
Yeah. So that was just a bad acting. There's this series on YouTube that's called Model Ball, and this is episode 13 of that called "Women Turning Men On," and it's pretty horrible. But it's a web series. Someone put it together.
So there's no nudity.
No, there's no nudity, no porn, none of that.
So I lost. God
Yeah,
damn.
you essentially lost. Everybody else got points for that. So Tony, I'm sorry, you did lose that. So, well, but maybe next time. Bro.
What do we win?
You win. Let me see, 1,000 snack packs. That's what it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I just have a T-shirt?
Give a T-shirt. Shut up.
No.
That's my transition into our actual topic here. You like that?
Oh, I'm nervous.
All right, so this is Group Rant 41, and we were going to talk a little about theology. We have a student of theology, Mr. Freddie, and then also
Hello.
well, that's essentially what we have here. I mean, we got Mary's also. Oh, there needs to be some room for intros. I don't think I did intros. You know, Mary and Freddie are joining the Group Rant podcast, and there'll be regulars on here, and so that should be something that should be said. But as we segue into our topic for the night, we want to talk a little bit about religion and defining religion, and I think Tony would be a good candidate. Tony, how would you define your religion? What do you think of when you think religion? But more specifically, what is religion to you?
Okay. Well, religion is a institution created by man you know, there's different institutions
Okay. Set up. Okay, got it.
set up, but you know, of course they're not. There's a belief structure there that people strive to or pertain themselves to.
Okay. So, but is there anything that you find religious?
Okay. Religious. A lot of things religious.
Is there something like, think about it like this? You're really into Star Wars. Is there something with Star Wars that you treat as a religion, or you hold it in strong regard? I remember at one point when I asked you about Batman and the Dark Knight, you said, "If you would like me to share the gospel with you, I will." So essentially, you find Batman to some degree as this religious character.
It's a series of books where you gain ethics, and you can take stories and use those to apply to your own life, and that's also religion.
So essentially, the morals instilled by Batman or Bruce Wayne or even the creator of Batman is someone that you would hold as someone that puts those morals within you, so that you treat them almost like God.
No, not to the same degree.
No? Okay. All right.
Just the level. But, you know, it's still helpful to... you really just are identifying with those morals you kind of already have. And that's kind of just a form of entertainment when I really think about it. You're really just identifying with that moral. And, it might make you think about something differently.
Yeah, I see it like that, and that's kind of where my definition of religion would come from, as my tie to the spiritual world, or how I spiritually tie to this earth, or spiritually interact with the earth. That's what religion is to me. Now, the way I would define religion in other regards would get into like what you were saying, institutions, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, there's a level of interaction that can't be defined by physical means, and not even mental means, if that makes sense. It's completely different from all of that, and it's something that just, I feel like it's something just so deep within you, and this connection to the world around you, that is what is defined as my religion. That is what I hold as my religion. I don't know if that makes sense. That might just kind of be meh. You know what I'm saying? Not really. Yeah. Freddie, what's religion to you? As a student of theology, how would you define your religion, or religion to you?
I would have to say that I'm going to go right ahead into the Merriam-Webster definition of it, because it divides it into two categories. One being beliefs, ceremonies, rules used to worship a god or a group of gods, and the other one is an interest, a belief, or an activity that is very important to a person or a group. Um, I like the second definition a lot better.
Yeah.
It's a lot, it centers on what is at the core of the person, what makes a person wake up and continue on with his day. To me, religion, it's very organized. We have a structure. There is a core set of beliefs, but it's not just simply my morality. It's more in the spirit of that I choose to live in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're hearing that tone, that's Jacob, and he's listening from Austin, and he's actually commenting. Jacob, if you just want to comment directly on that, he was asking if there's a way to comment on this, but anyways, that's a side note. So Freddie, what do you hold as your religion?
I'm Roman Catholic Christian, and that's my religion and my denomination, I guess. I believe in Christianity and in Jesus Christ, and that He came to save us. And I practice it in the form of Roman Catholicism.
You made a good point on one of our notes, is that some people find sports religious, or like it's almost like a religion to them, that they would hold it outside. Something. You got these sports fanatics that go to games and get really into it, and even hold out rituals so that their team wins and stuff like that. Is there anything outside like that you would also find religious?
Outside of my faith?
Yeah.
I would say, like, family to me is very much a religious institute.
I know about that. Yeah, that makes sense, though, because I mean that's where most of your morals and beliefs would have started from.
Yeah, it's definitely being a Mexican American. Very much family is at the core of my religion, apart from my institutional life. It's like I go to church because mom and dad said so, apart, from religion saying so. At the end of the day, I worship my parents to a certain degree.
That makes sense to me. It's like almost like you can't talk. There's certain things certain ways you can't talk to your parents because they are your parents, no matter like how they treat you or whatever.
Just a set of rules, just as you mentioned, rules are a part of religion or tradition, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I mean it just crosses into this thing. So, Mary, you're over there knitting something nice. What are you knitting over there, Mary? What do you got?
Sweater.
A sweater? Is this for the upcoming winter? Is it going to be the coldest winter of
Winter is coming.
This year? This century? Brace yourself. The winter is coming. Anyways, okay. How would you define your religion, Mary?
I'm Christian and Episcopalian.
So you and Freddie hate each other, right?
We don't hate each other.
And I'm just the splitter. I'm the schismist.
Schismist.
Because I think we get into
come back home whenever you want.
You know what? Well, I think we should just all Christian side hug and everything will be okay.
That would be good.
I miss whenever I'd play basketball for the church. That's how you start every game, that's how you would end the game, is with the hug.
Yeah.
And everybody's just like, we're all winners.
We're all winners.
And then you would do this thing. You turn around and like everybody's hands would be still like connected. I don't know how to explain it.
And then you genuflect?
Yeah. You genuflect and then you run out.
Oh, okay. And then you go kill the heathens, right?
I was horrible at basketball. I was so fat. I was a fat kid. Anyways, yeah.
Okay.
I never played tennis.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
I never played sports for Jesus.
You should. You always win.
You always win.
Only if you believe. I mean,
There's no losers.
there's
Now,
non-believers.
I know I was talking to Jesse about this earlier, and he kind of wants to sit, I think, in the background. I don't know if he cares to input. Jesse, where are we at?
Where are we at?
Do you wish to talk about religion, or do you wish to stay in the background? Because
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, I mean,
you were kind of making a scene earlier, throwing a fit about it.
So currently, I'm Catholic. So yeah, I'm Roman Catholic Christian. So that's how I know Freddie from the church, and so I know. But that's currently where I'm at. But I've kind of been in and out of religions. I was born and raised Catholic. Then I transitioned to atheism. I was trying to make my way back into some type of, institution or, religious portion of my life, and I found Buddhism. But currently, I'm a practicing Catholic.
And see, I started in the same church as you guys, and transitioned. And I don't know what. At the beginning of my master's program, I felt like I got really religious, and there came a point when, before we were getting married, Laura and I were going to RCIA classes. And while we're going to those classes, they start basically, it's like Catholicism 101, and they start from the beginning, and you start doing this whole thing, and you go through it all. And somewhere in that, when I found that Laura and I were fighting more about religion than having religion bringing us together, because she was non-denominational and I was Catholic, I found that if I just didn't. That was part of it. And I felt like I stepped away from the church then. And then, the more I read about the universe, as weird as that might sound and cheesy, it made me think less that an institution can possibly know the answers to what I'm seeking. And that got me away from the church altogether. So it's not necessarily. I can't say that it's. I think science reasons and brings me all the answers that religion doesn't, and vice versa. Because to some degree, they both have their limits. And then there's this spiritual sense that I don't think can be defined by science or religion, and the spiritual tie to the earth around us. And I sound like a hippie when I say that. I know, but I think that's what keeps there's some kind of emotional tie to keeping the earth safe. As weird as that might sound, it's like, oh, you tree hugger, whatever. Get out of here.
That's a big part of a lot of denominations, at least in the Episcopal Church, is stewardship of the earth. And our last presiding bishop was a marine biologist at first, and really made an effort to try and talk about that. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Christianity in general, being born out of Judaism, the Hebrew believe that we are co-creators on Earth still. Creation hasn't come to an end or to a finish, but we continue that creating spirit pretty much as we are. So we are to take care of creation as a whole as much as we are of ourselves. That's very Hebrew to think in those ways, not so much hippie.
Well, I like the thought of that, but I have run into some people that, and these are oil field guys that say that the earth was given to us with these resources, and that's why we should utilize all these resources that are on the earth, whether it's damaging the earth or not, and because they were given to us by God, and God would want us to use them up. And these are Baptists, Southern Baptist individuals. And that was something that they hold very true, and that's what gave them an excuse to basically continue fracking and polluting the groundwater, because they held it as this is something that's a resource that was given to us by God, and that's why we can do what we're doing.
See, I thought that was an older viewpoint, and it, from what I've seen of modern mainstream Protestant churches, the opposite is true, that you should be stewards and you should take care of the earth, because what Freddie said.
Yeah, I like that point of view on the outlook of that. Yeah. When we're looking, I don't know, lately, and I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the virtual simulation theory, essentially what people call the Matrix.
The Matrix.
And the more I dig into that, and the more that the universe is just this. Made up of all these equations and numbers and stuff like that.
With Christianity, we borrow a lot from the Greeks, and part of that is Socrates' theory of like de anima, that our spirit comes from the eternal and is to return to the eternal. So there is this, kind of theory of like what you're talking about built
Yeah.
into Christianity.
Well, even with the Catholic Church, when we tie into, is it Ash Wednesday? From dust we came and dust will return. Like that makes sense to me, and that was something that would always get me thinking in church, because we come from this like atomic state and we return there. I mean, that's the size of the atoms, whatever, are building blocks, where we return to this
How
original
about,
state of
yeah,
being. I think what gets me with religion is the things that are outside of that. When it comes to, for example, tithing, it's just like this real world monetary staple that's applied to these other views. It's almost like oil and water for me
yeah.
when you involve money in any way in any church. That's what it is for me.
Why don't you like money in church?
It's for me because this economic monoculture that we're growing up in, it's this backdrop that we're constantly trying to get. It's this thin line that's like the more money you donate, the holier you are.
That's more
And that
like prosperity gospel.
Yeah, that's your Joel Osteen right there.
Yeah.
No name dropping.
You just did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's one of the main issues I have with institutions like this.
Yeah.
But that's not all institutions of Christianity.
Yeah. I mean, look at the fruits of the labor. Look at those prominent churches in southern Texas, that have these abundant resources, and all they do is build these large, stadiums, state-of-the-art equipment and technology and whatnot. And then you have, one of the oldest Christian churches around, the Catholic Church, that supports most charities around the world, and even in areas where people do not want to go in. It's the church that's erected schools and hospitals and brings aid to them.
Yeah, I really don't get that form of thinking. Honestly, it's really foreign to what I grew up with. Honestly.
Yeah. I got this little guy here. Check him out.
Aww.
With that said, I think it goes. Is he wet?
Costello.
Costello the Great. With that said, I know there are some institutions that, and a good example is like, I went to a poor Catholic church and I saw like what they put their money into. And then I've gone to other churches. I mean, I've gone to rich Catholic churches and I see what they put their money into. And it goes back and forth. We run into it. We go to a non-denominational church down here, and I've seen it when they start investing in like sound equipment and backdrops for their singers and just so much stuff. And you look at like the people that are attending this church, and some of them just don't even look like they. I don't know. They're like, as weird as it might seem, they look homeless when they're coming there, and they're having to like step into this church that's like spending money and essentially on these other things that it could be giving back to the people. And that separation for me, and I understand when you guys say like, it's a more isolated. It's not something that should be applied to a lot. But the thing is, it happens a lot, and it's more than just a coincidence after a while. So.
And you can point the finger at like the Catholic Church. I mean, we own a lot of art as a church. I mean, you go to the Vatican City, and it's just filled with classics from Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael.
All the Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's great. But the truth is that the treasures that the church has belongs to the people. I mean, the church cannot sell those treasures for any kind of gain. And a lot of times, it's these beautiful churches. If you go to Mexico, it's dotted with like a lot of like Baroque era churches that are really flashy and a lot of gold. And these poor people are very proud of these churches because that's their riches, and that's the closest thing they have to luxury.
Mm-hmm.
It's just monetary, but we can move on. I mean, does anything else need to be said about this? I mean, it looks like a mixed topic.
So,
I don't know, how do you feel about it, Tony?
Yeah, well, I was born, raised Catholic, and kind of gotten away from the tradition. Like I'm not practicing but I feel like I might be on more of a change. I'm not sure what I did have a trip to the Church of the Holy
That's
Sepulchre.
right. You recently went
Jerusalem,
in
yeah.
toward basically the path of Jesus, right?
Yes, yes. And my trip to Israel was. I guess I haven't processed it yet because I really haven't. I haven't. Well, I went to church for maybe the first. Well, I think I went before, but I went to the church, kind of really thinking about that trip, and like when they were singing a song about um, Jesus dying, restored our death, and then I imagine I remember seeing the rock where he was crucified, and then rising where he restored our life. I saw the tomb and stuff. So it kind of put in my mind like this is a physical place. It's a real thing, and how strong and powerful it was being there. That I don't know my next course of action. And I did recently get married. I did have a Baha'i ceremony. I don't know, Freddie, you familiar with the Baha'i faith?
The Baha'i faith, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a whole mixture of different faiths, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Hodgepodge.
Say that, but it still has a single like prophet.
Yeah,
Well, even though they treat all prophets equally.
yeah.
But
They're kind of like the safe religion. Like we really don't know which one is it, but we support them all.
yeah.
I thought that was Unitarian Universalist.
Oh, those are another story. Speaking
okay.
about Unitarian Universalists, I've been spending my summer in New England, and it is dotted with a lot of the UCC Church and the Universalist Church, which are a bunch of these. You got two kinds. You got your really humanitarian type, and you have your like Christian humanitarian, which can be a little obnoxious sometimes because you just don't know who you're dealing with sometimes.
Yeah.
And just to add to that is I've been working at a hospital all summer as a chaplain. So I've run into like many different faiths from no faith to not religious but spiritual all the way to like a guy who swore that he was the Pope.
Now,
so yeah,
I know this is.
I was thinking
Go
about
ahead.
my marriage ceremony. I'm not married in the church, so when we went to church, I didn't go for communion because I lost that right and whatnot, and then I'm thinking really that doesn't bother me. It's more like my children, will I baptize them? Those are all things I'm starting to think about, and even if the steps we have to take to do that through the church, and so I'm in a process of thinking about that, so.
Do you think it's slowly becoming more important to you?
Yeah. To me, what is?
Like your
Baptizing
religious views, because you're talking about kids, but it's like, is it just not that important because you don't have kids yet?
I'd say a little bit, yeah, because I want to raise them, and I don't want them to be confused,
Yeah.
because I want to go to church and also do some Baha'i. There's a lot of Baha'i events and like camps and stuff that they can benefit from, and so we're thinking and doing a dual kind of faith thing.
And that's very possible. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's becoming not so much the norm, but it's definitely a trend that a lot of people are doing nowadays.
Especially because Baha'i is very all-inclusive, and
Baha'i.
So that helps.
Wait, did you mention you recently got married, or you're thinking about getting married?
No, we got married, yeah.
Okay, that's
We had
just something
a
minor.
We had a Baha'i ceremony.
Wait, did you not know this, Miko?
Yeah,
Tony got
this would have been
Tony
nice
got
to
married.
know, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
That's what I'm saying. Like we couldn't go.
Skipped
get
over that.
communion.
Thanks.
Okay,
Oh,
so
man,
Miguel
I
has
got
a-
married, so Yeah.
I thought y'all knew already.
Right. Like I had to process that real quick because I was like, wait, did he say he got married? Hang on, let me check my notes.
I'm
Well, I
wearing
knew-
my ring right now.
I knew you proposed, but I didn't say
Yeah.
anything because I just assumed Miguel knew. But
Yeah, well, no, it's kind of a surprise. Like, well, in a way,
You eloped?
our plan. No, well, sort of. Our plan was to get married in May, but we wanted to live together, and her mom was like starting to lose it if we were living together without being married. But we
I
also
see.
loved each other very much, and I'm getting a new job, and why the hell
so
not?
this is
be
when y'all
married?
got back, right?
So Tony,
So we just
congratulations,
had
Tony.
parents, and we did a simple Baha'i ceremony. I mixed in some Christian stuff, and
Mixed it in, got a
yeah,
little bit of Christian.
it's not in a church or anything, but
Yeah, took the Eucharist. Or you drank some wine. Is that the
No.
Catholic part?
no.
We drank beer instead of wine. You know, did a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, but then we're gonna have a big old party in a year.
Will the Empty Rant podcast be invited? That's all I want to know.
Yes, it's gonna be a
nice.
giant
Well,
party.
Tony,
July
congratulations, Tony.
July 23rd, 2016.
That's amazing, bro. I mean, congratulations. And
Thanks.
now, I want to move into another segment. I don't think we took notes on this, but it's been something that my sister talked about because we listened to the Snap Judgment podcast.
Which sister?
Maria.
Okay.
Maria, who is very, very Catholic.
Okay.
And we listened to the Snap Judgment podcast, and they had it's 2 or 3 episodes ago. It's called Campfire Tales number 2. And one of the stories that comes up out there is basically about spirits still being around in the world, and one of them was about this demon that this guy, when he was asleep, he was having this dream, and then he felt like he woke up and he saw the demon sitting on his chest, basically like suffocating him.
Right.
And he couldn't wake up. And I feel like I've heard this a lot, but my sister says that this has happened to her, and that she's very paranoid, and it's put her into this paranoid state. And Freddie and I were starting to talk about this on Love and Tacos, but then he got called out. And there's a mixture of things that I kind of want to hit on here in this last part of the segment, and it's, you have different instruments such as like Ouija boards or games called Charlie. I think we talked about that one a little bit, that invoke these demons, these spirits to come in and talk to you. And the other part of it that I kind of want to hit on is do you think these demons, are demons real? I guess we should start with that. For me, I feel like it's part of your neurological mind frame. If you invite something to exist and you feel like you're prone to that, then you automatically set up your mind frame to be possessed by a demon, as opposed to just like bad thinking.
Yeah, isn't that like you actually wake up, but you're not fully awake, so you can't move your body. So your brain has to decide, has to make something up. Oh, there's something holding me down, and then if you have, tendency towards demonic fears.
Yeah, exactly. It's because you have that background of religious thought and the consequences, and the thought that demons do exist in this world. Then you automatically relate it to, there's a demon on me. I need to live my life better so that these demons don't stay with me. And that's what happened with my sister. She starts going like confession and does all these like extracurricular Catholic activities in order to get away from it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Freddie? We never hit on that, Freddie. Do you think demons exist?
Well, can I start with aliens and work my way down?
Perfect.
Okay. It's asinine for me to believe that we're the only intelligent life on Earth. It's also, in dealing with spirits, in the dimension of spirits would also be the same thing. Going in with, what are the powers and the power of the universe? And the basic answer is, we don't know, but there has been significant proof that, there is, alter realms. There are, existence that we cannot understand, whether it be some maleficent, spirit that wants evil on us, or something that's stuck here on Earth, some kind of force. Short answer is yeah. I believe that there's spirits out there, and I believe there's good and there's bad.
But in the sense that you think the spirits could be aliens.
I mean, not even so much. I mean, there is humans, and then there's aliens in the universe. You know, other life in the universe. There is our spirits, and then there is the spirits that are, you know, in the universe also. You know, I don't believe that we're the only spirits that occupy this time frame.
Yeah, I don't think we're the only inhabitants of this universe.
There you
but,
go.
You know, I treat that differently than... See, because I got like three... I don't know how you want to say, like... This separates into, like... I think there's other inhabitants or aliens, and then there's us. And then within us, like, there's... I don't know how I feel about a spirit form. I feel like we have a spirit connection, but not a spirit form. I don't know. But anyways, I see what you're saying. So do you think, like, you could be possessed by the spirits of alter... Do you think you could be possessed by an alien?
I think you can be possessed by something out there. If you invite it into your life, you know, yeah, of course. You know, if you give it possession of yourself, it can definitely happen.
And we'll move into that in a bit because I think that's a good segue into Ouija boards. Jeez, but
don't do it.
Mary, how do you feel about demons? Or do you believe in demons? Do you think they exist? Do you treat them like aliens?
No, not at all.
You don't believe in demons at all?
No.
Do you think there's only good spirits?
Define what a spirit is, you know.
So you don't believe in spirits at all, then?
What is your definition of a spirit?
For me, I don't so much believe in spirits as much as I do as a spiritual connection. Now, Freddie, how would you define a spirit? You're just like your soul?
I would break it up in the good old Greek way. You know, a human person is made out of mind, body, and spirit. Mind is the cognate part of us. The body is obviously the physical part of us, and our connection with the infinite, you know, is our spirit.
Okay. So connection. Well, that just sounds like consciousness to me. If I were to define spirit.
Yeah. Well,
so my spiritual definition is my consciousness, the inward.
Yeah.
I hate saying inward because it sounds like
inward. When it turns off,
I think I'm racist. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So, Mary, how would you define spiritualness? Or do you even have spiritualness? Do you believe in demons, first of all? I don't know where we're at. You said no. So you don't think there's like any way of like, I guess, souls that did not leave Earth to be here? Like bad souls?
Well, I thought, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought the like traditional definition of demons is just basically like because there is daemons in Greek mythology, correct?
Yeah.
Where like everything would have a spirit, and that kind of carried over to like having bad spirits and kind of meshed with the Christianity at the time. Is that correct?
I mean, yeah. In the medieval days, it was kind of like the invention of the day, was that there was these demons that made bad things happen.
I mean, because there's evidence in the Bible of demon possession. And I don't really know what I think about it. Like, in my mind, it's do these people just have a mental illness and that was the demon at the time and there's not these true spiritual demons? I lean more towards that, but I don't know if that's heretical or anything, but it just... I guess these ideas of these supernatural forces other than, like, God...
It's not heretical if you sell it.
Oh, okay. I won't write a book, I promise.
There you go.
But I guess, like... I have a hard time like even angels. If you want to flip that over, I don't know. Like, the skeptic in me is just like these are people with mental illnesses.
I had a friend that worked out at the state school over there, and he said that this one patient was not being. They were giving her all types of different treatments and stuff like that, and she was not taken to the treatment. And she kept saying that she was possessed. She was possessed, and then like started talking in tongues and different languages that this girl shouldn't know. And it wasn't until they got the bishop to go out there, and then the bishop had to go through and get all this different permission and stuff like that, and actually perform an exorcism on the patient, that the patient got better after that. Basically took the demon out. And that made me think, because it's just like, is that, I mean, that would, I don't know, that would mean that it is an exorcism essentially just another form of mental illness treatment.
I mean,
Or,
that's hard to say. I know a while back there was one of the main exorcists in the country was invited to our little hometown, and and for some reason the bishop allowed there to be like this press conference beforehand, before he would do an in-service with like the priest and those studying. Um, and I remember the kind of people that were attracted to this, press conference. It wasn't necessarily your most mentally stable people. And if you encourage people, to say, hey, there's going to be an exorcist here, well, all of a sudden, everybody who has an issue, has a demon going on with them. I'm kind of, I believe in the spiritual world, yes, but I also believe that as human beings, there is something innate in us that we're constantly looking for a scapegoat to use for our problems.
yeah, I could see that. I mean, where that argument I see, that comes up a lot whenever you, like, the justification of, like, someone being gay or not. It's just like, oh, they have a demon in them, and then that leads to this, like, scare them straight techniques and stuff like that. It's just like, what?
Like, I have a fat demon.
Yeah. You said, oh, you don't have a fat. You're not fat, Freddy. Come on, man. You're good, man. You in your prime, bro. Don't worry about that. Don't even let people get to you, man.
I'm good.
Jesse, you care to input on the existence of demons?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, basically, I guess the credibility demons have is, or the lack of credibility is because you can't see them, but we put that same faith in a God that, we can't see or, touch anyway. So if something, as powerful as God exists, and, and we put so much faith and trust in the existence of him, I don't really see, why demons can't exist. But I also, on the other hand, like she said, think a lot of that is basically not necessarily an excuse, but a scapegoat for, some of the difficult things that occur in our life. If something bad is going on, we blame it on demons. But there's always two sides of the coin. I mean, it's always, well, this is this tragic point in your life is occurring because this is the way God wanted it, because he has other plans for you. But at the same time, you could blame it on the devil too. So it's kind of like, it's a very gray area. I mean, you don't really know who to blame for the things in your life, whether they're good or bad. But I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement. Like with Freddie said, it's a, as far as like alien.
You can't have good without the bad. The yin, the yang, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
You are playing into a dangerous territory when you put it in that.
That was a heresy, Miguel.
Yeah.
It's called Manichaeism.
I'm just saying. I mean, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, it's like in the beginning, technically there is disorder, and then you bring order to it. Going into my heritage of my Mexican, I guess, culture. My father was native Mexican, and so they believed in evil as disorder, not as in like a maleficent evil as we believe in evil, but as just not having things in a proper order, and then bringing order to it was the greater good.
Okay.
The Hebrews in a lot of tenses they speak about this disorder. In the beginning of the formation of the world, there was this huge disorder, and it was a void, and then order and light came to it. The Hebrews really work us into just learning about order and disorder. We really don't hear about evil, about demons, in the sense that you were talking about until the medieval days.
So it's almost until they were invented, you didn't hear about them.
I'm not going to say that, but you did.
I mean, until someone was like, hey, let's call this a demon.
It's
And
like
now there's demons.
look at the earlier translations of the Bible, and each time the word Satan is used, it's not Satan as we understand it. It's the deceiver, the liar. You know, it's not so much this evil
Isn't
entity that we believe in.
isn't it also translated as the adversary?
Yeah, the adversary. You know,
Have you ever heard of? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I don't think there's like horned creatures like walking around roaming the earth. You know, like picking on people with pitchforks. But I mean, a spirit from a spiritual standpoint, like Mary said, that it's hard to believe in angels. With the same concept of as difficult it would it be to believe in demons. Basically, if you have angels doing God's work, it would make sense to have demons doing Satan's work.
Well, from my reading of the Bible, a lot of the angels were messengers, like not interacting as much. Is that?
What about Michael the angel? Wasn't he just like this badass with a sword?
No, he was. I mean, they just gave him a name eventually in the scriptures, but it was just the same messenger doing the same job all the time.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about Ouija boards. Freddie, do you think Ouija boards are instruments that invite the underworld to possess our souls?
Don't use them.
Why? Tell me why, Freddie.
Just don't. I mean, why? It's like a crack pipe. Why would you use it?
I mean, because
it is like a crack pipe.
It's fun. I mean, have you ever done crack before?
I haven't done crack.
I've seen people on crack.
Yeah.
And I've seen people after they play with the Ouija board, and they're completely different people. I mean, there's two different types of people there. See, I mean, it's not like using a crack pipe. That's for sure.
I mean, I think I've already stated. I do believe that there are spirits out there. If you leave your windows and your doors open, you're really asking for it. I mean, you're really asking for, like, hey, come on in, do what you want, sit down.
Okay, so any state of meditation then, because essentially that's what an Ouija board does, because you got a group of individuals that are concentrating and focused on this one task, and they enter a state of meditation is how I see it. And that's what invites these spirits in. Now, is that any type of meditation can essentially be this like book you're opening to invite spirits in or demons in?
I mean, I would have to say no. I mean, in the Christian tradition, the prayer is always done through the mediation of Jesus Christ and God the Father. Mostly God the Father or God Creator. It's not, you don't leave that open void. I mean, you just don't start talking, like, hey, whatever spirit's out there can hear me, I would really like this. Amen. In the Christian prayer, I mean, listen to the way that Christians pray, and it's in the blood of Jesus, by the cross of Christ, in the name of the Father, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It's a formula in the way we pray. Why? Because of what you just brought up. When you open yourself up spiritually,
right,
you're really just leaving, an open door.
What if you open yourself up? What if you got a Ouija board and everybody does a prayer together? It says, God guide us and spell us out some words.
I mean, it's just not what a spirit is.
It's not the same thing?
No, I mean, I think...
Couldn't you invite good spirits if you can invite bad spirits?
What if you invite God? Like Jesus,
how
help
do
us
we know? And the danger is this: how do we know that that's God? I mean, none of us knows.
Exactly.
None of us can, But when this good force, comes into your life somehow, and it's constantly, lingering around, and then all of a sudden this good force doesn't want to go away. What do you call that now? You call that possession.
But aren't most Ouija boards used to like contact like pass on relatives or something like that? So
yeah, I mean, that's their medium.
So if you get an answer, it's because your past relatives are demons.
No. I mean, if you get an answer,
sounds like.
we don't know that it is or it's not.
But you don't know that God's listening whenever you're praying. Even so what's the difference? Like Tony said, like.
Yeah,
You're
the
spiritually opening yourself up to anybody responding, and it doesn't always have to be God.
And I go back to that intention of prayer. I mean, it's
Yeah,
the
I can see the
intentionality
intention
of
of prayer, but when it comes with Ouija boards, I mean, the answer you're getting
it.
is based off of, what do they call it, Newtonian motion, something like that, and it is the micro vibrations that you don't even feel when everybody's putting their hands on that thing that moves.
Yeah.
I have a theory that every time somebody buys a Ouija board, it has a little tiny note that says, "Hey, Ouija boards are bullshit. Just move this thing and tell them and fuck
No,
with your friends."
it happens if you do any. I mean, if you hold your hand out for a prolonged period of time, it's gonna start like there's these micro vibrations that you can't necessarily see, but that's what moves the piece on the board. And when you have multiple people doing that, you multiply that effect, and it essentially starts moving, and you almost, I don't know how to explain it. The other thing that demonstrates it well is if you have a string with a weight on it, and you're just holding it there, and it starts making like circular motions because you're thinking that in your head, but essentially you're making the motion with your hand, but you're not, because it's so like on a micro level.
It's called the ideomotor effect.
Yeah. Okay. There we
There
go.
you go. All right.
Video motor effect.
Boom.
And I think, and that's the same with this game called Charlie Charlie. I don't know if y'all have heard about that. And you take a piece of paper and you do just like a plus sign or a cross, whatever you want to call it, and two diagonal squares have one answer, so they can say yes yes, and then the other one says no no, and you put two pencils on top of the lines, on top of each other. And you say, Charlie, Charlie, you ask them a question, and then the top pencil eventually moves to yes or no. And that's, again, caused by I forget, I don't know if that's Newtonian force as well, but there's a repulsion effect that occurs because the non-friction between the two pencils, and it forces it. And I saw people posting this on Facebook saying, "Don't fuck with this. Don't fuck with Ouija boards. You're gonna invite all these spirits in."
Yeah,
Don't
but
fuck with your
you also
people."
heard that it was also a gimmick for that movie that came out about the theater.
Wait, what?
There was a movie that came out, and apparently a lot of this Charlie Charlie stuff was like gimmicky for this movie that was going to come out.
I didn't realize. I know there's a movie called Ouija board.
Yeah.
Or Ouija.
Yeah, there's that one about the theater, like the Dead Man's Theater or something like that.
That's some good promotion. Dang.
Yeah.
Tony, do you think you are able to be possessed by a demon, Tony?
I think there's moments in your life where you'll feel demonic forces, and that could just be, that's just a label. I kind of see it as like bad influences in a way. That could be a demonic force. Anything that's leading you away from the good. You could call that a demon. I mean,
it's called road rage, Tony.
Yeah. So, sure, I could be possessed, but I'm pretty adept at battling those demons.
You're mad at the sun because it heats up your car while in the parking lot, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the sun's a demon to you.
Yeah. It's fucking hot.
It's too hot in here. A question for you, Jesse, is would you let your kids play with the Ouija board?
I don't really see the harm in it, and so if they wanted to.
Yeah. I don't know, Freddie, if you ever heard of a sire, they can, I guess, see into the spirit world.
I mean, I being the Mexican that I am.
Am I saying that right?
I've known my curanderas and
yeah,
the people who did like the brujeria stuff. I've met people like that in my life. Yeah.
My mom wants me to take Costello to a curandera. He's sleeping, and then he's just like, bees, and then he goes back to sleep.
He says the word bees?
No, that'd be funny, but it looks like he's saying bees because he's just like this. He's just like this. He's just like, bees.
What do your mom says that he's just?
My mom says it's like the bad spirits trying to get him. I was like, no, the kid's being attacked by bees in his dreams. It's just like, bees.
How does you know what bees are?
I don't know. He's a really smart kid. I don't know.
He's so
Bees.
smart.
2 weeks old, and you know what bees is? Crazy kid. But she says that there's like
Did you watch The Wicker Man with him?
no.
Oh.
But apparently, yeah, there's spirits in the underworld that are attacking his dreams, and so my mom wants to like
Nicolas Cage.
go over him with stage or something.
That's a very cultural thing for us. I mean, like, both my nieces have their ojo de venao, which is like this bracelet that they wear. It's a kind of a nut that they find, and it looks like a deer's eye, or it might be a deer's eye. I don't know. And and it's meant for that, to ward off, the bad spirits. That's part of our cultural, religiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Of course you'll get your people who are like, you must only have one God. But what if God intended it to be like this? I don't know.
No, yeah, and that's a whole nother thing because Dia de los Muertos is coming up this in 2 months, and this year it falls on Halloween.
No way.
So I look forward to that, or at least the celebration does this year.
Really?
Here in Corpus Christi, it's kind of a big thing. You should come down, Freddie.
For sure.
I invite everybody, but you know how you are, Mary. Ugh.
You've never invited me before. You shut up.
Okay. Well, this has been a excellent group rant 41 on Theology Rant Part 1, and I will definitely set it up so that we can revisit this subject in the near future. But do y'all have any last notes? I mean, we can just go down the line. Tony, any last notes on our discussion tonight?
Nothing much. I'm just thinking, Freddie, can you help me get married in the church?
For sure, man. I'll talk to you when I get back to San Antonio.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
look at that. Everlasting relationships with God. And Tony, please dispose of all your Ouija boards. Thank you.
Okay. Oh yeah, I gotta get rid of them.
Jesse, how about you, man? I'm glad you showed up. You were talking about just sitting in the background listening, and you actually joined in, so appreciate you coming in here, man. Any last words?
Congratulations again to Tony, and congratulations to you on being a father.
Woo. Oh hey, I got a job. I start working.
And congratulations on a
that,
job, man. It's just year of the Tony. That's all it is. Year of the Tony. I feel like in a month, you got a job, you got engaged, you got married, and you traveled the world. Like, within a month.
Boom.
Yeah, well, a couple months, but yeah.
You know how, like, on that movie Click, he keeps fast-forwarding through life, and then everything's fast-forwarding? I feel like you've hit the fast-forward button, and you're just going to keep fast-forwarding, so next time we talk, you're going to be, like, 90 years old.
All right.
That's just a theory of mine.
Sure.
Okay. It doesn't have to actually happen like that.
Yeah, you're the one with the kid. That's way more important. Good job.
Castello. He will do great things. Man, that kid's growing up fast.
Yeah?
Jesse, let me ask you this.
He's like, bees.
Jesse, within 2 weeks, did you feel like your little girl's just got like so much bigger within 2 weeks? Like I'm on week 2 and I'm like, this kid's huge now. What happened to the newborn I got?
Yeah, they grow pretty fast in the beginning, yeah.
It's like you feed them and they grow or something.
No, I get that, but I didn't expect them to grow quite that fast. It's just like, whoa, who is this kid when I wake up in the morning?
Water on and they just make it big.
Go on.
All right. Mary, do you have any last words for Group Rant 41?
Yeah, I can't wait to get off here and play Witcher 3.
Oh, there you go.
That might invite the bad spirits into your life, so...
No, I'm fighting them. I'm fighting monsters.
Good thing you're fighting them off. I guess that's the thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. All right, Freddie, and Mary and Freddie, this is your first group rant with us. An excellent conversation, and I'm very excited for our future podcast. Freddie, any last words?
Check out Lovey Tacos on the Empty Rant. It's more socially inclined, Hispanic and taco-ish conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna get episode 3 up soon. Probably do that tomorrow. It's my last day of paternity leave.
Yeah, and be good.
Nice. Thanks. And for everybody else that wants to see future episodes, you can hit us up, emptyrant.com. All our information is there. And my last words is, don't play with Ouija boards, because you might invite a good spirit, and you're a bad person. All right. That's out.
can't see that.